Hi everyone. Today we're going to show our third progress report for the chatbot. So first, we're going to show what we have on my end. And I was working on the embeddings, the RAG chain, convo memory, and the video output with convo memory. So I'll get to all of those in a bit. First, I was still working on the embeddings using Hugging Face and also OpenAI just to see which one worked. And this was before we had Milvus properly installed and working for us. We did use a sample code that takes all the embeddings that came from a CSV file. And ideally, what it does is that right now, all the numbers you see is just the length of the different embeddings. There's like a drastic difference in the embedding length, and then we were just trying to see what were each of these embeddings made of. So we can see these are just the embeddings, and then there's the text for said embeddings. It works for the template, obviously, but then when we tried to convert it for our own embedding CSV file, first it got too big, and second we started to have things where the shapes were not working with what we tried at first. And so we decided to give up on this. And since Milvus was working by the time this wasn't working, we decided to jump onto that instead. Moving on to RAG chain and Milvus. We'll explain what Milvus is in a second, but currently it's just a database that stores all of the embeddings that we have. And the embeddings that we're using is Hugging Face embeddings, which is here. The LLM that we're using is ChatGPT. We could use the 3.5 Turbo or 4. In this case, we'll use 4. And if you were to run it, what it does is it asks the user to input their question, and then the chatbot should go through all of the documents, answer the question based off the context of all those documents. And so in our case, we can ask what are the quality assessments of drug therapy. And in a few seconds, the chatbot will give us an answer. And this is a pretty good answer. We asked it to be concise and to not go over 3 sentences, which it listened to. And if you are done asking the question to the chatbot, you can just say quit and the program will end. So this is just a very simple RAG chain code. We tried to build on top of that to keep track of the chatbot conversation. This is still a work in progress. We were testing different conversation memory code. So the different ones that we've tried include conversation buffer memory, conversation summary memory, summary buffer memory, and buffer window memory. Conversation buffer memory stores all of the conversation and it can take up a lot of resources. And so we decided to not use this. Summary memory uses less resources, especially if you are asking the chatbot multiple questions. And it also provides a summary of all the questions that you've asked it. Conversation summary buffer memory does basically a combination of the previous 2 that we've talked about. And conversation buffer window memory, you can limit how much the chatbot remembers the conversation. So in this case, k=2 means that it'll only remember the previous 2 questions. We're thinking 10 is a good amount of chats that the chatbot should remember. So we're going to change that eventually. We're not going to run it because it takes a while, but this is an example output. These are the amount of tokens that you spend asking a question. This was an answer to it. We've asked it different questions just to see how well it performed. And then at the end, we tried to see how much of the conversation does this chatbot remember. So this one, because there's only 2 of these conversation that it remembers, that means this was an output of the conversation buffer window memory because k=2. And if we had changed it to 10, it would remember more of that conversation. So that was this code. And we tried to build off on that with including the video timestamp for the question that we were asking. It's still also a work in progress, but currently it does not connect with the memory or RAG chain at the moment. But if it were to connect, what it does is you can ask it a question. We can ask what are macromolecules. And these outputs, the similarity documents found, the code found that this textbook, the supplementary textbook at this page, mentioned something about macromolecules, but we run another test on it to search for that word macromolecules in this PDF, specifically this page. We did not find that. So this is just like an extra check of if that document that the similarity checker found, if that was a valid one. It is not, so we're going to implement something that will prevent it from even showing in the first place. And then these are the YouTube video IDs that may mention macromolecules or molecules. And so for the first link, we check that it actually does not have that word macromolecules inside the video transcript. And these two, because it's the same link that or same video ID, that means it's just one video. And that one video actually has the word macromolecules. And this was a sample sentence of it. And that's the timestamp. So if this was working with RAG and convo memory, it should also output the AI response to what are macromolecules in addition to this. But we're still working on it. So we're just gonna leave it at that at the moment. And we're gonna go through other progress in different areas of our chatbot.
Hello. Two things I've been working on. One of them was scraping this website, this biology forums website, which has a pharmacology section. And the thought was to give context for like common question and answers the chatbot might want in the pharmacology like classroom setting. We have a lot of this script, bioform script on the website folder. We'll go through each of these subforums and then collect all these like questions and get all these answers. But the problem is the answers are locked behind this like sign-in page. So this took a while, but it essentially goes through it goes through this main page, collects all these like subforums. I have registered on this website. And it goes through to this login page and it waits until it just inputs my email and password that I've set up for this website. And then it goes through every subform that we collected on the first link on all these like sublinks of these subforums, and it collects the question and answer on each page. So it's like getting all these question and the answer, getting links, setting up WebDriver. This is all Selenium things. I use a package called Selenium for this, and it basically I could just end it really quickly, but it just basically will go through each of these links and get the question and answer, and it will output this text file where it's just the question until a comma, then it shows the answer. And this is yeah. So this is one thing I've been working on, this bioform thing. Another one was Milvus. We use FAISS, FAISS for this vector database for the labs, but I thought to speed things up, and to improve accuracy, we could use Milvus, which is an open source vector database that's actually really popular right now. There's a managed version which is paid, but this is the open source one. It uses the Milvus standalone package. And I have a lot of scripts here that I can do. There's a command line interface which is similar to MySQL. Log in MySQL through the terminal, and you could see you have to connect. There's a Milvus server already running on local machine. List collections. And you could see that we have word collection. Our collections are basically tables in MySQL, but we store all of all these materials, all these PDFs and TXT into the Milvus by using this code. Where is it? Insert Milvus db.py. But for now, let's show this collection. You could see that there's 62 entities right now. I stopped it before it inputs every file in, but all the you could see that there are multiple attributes or fields, it's called here, and the source, the page, the text, and the vector, which is 7C68. Currently we're using Hugging Face vector embeddings, and to demonstrate the insert milbus db, let's do drop collections. It's a script that helps in deleting all the collections you have. It shows the collections you have right now, and it asks you have to type yes, delete all in all uppercase. This is to prevent like making it too easy to delete. See, delete all. And you can see now that if we list collections, there's no more. Nice. Insert milbusdb.py. Basically, you have to just input the type, the text, the folder, which includes all the text and PDFs. It will start loading, finding all the text and PDFs in that file. And for each PDF and text, it goes through each of the PDFs and it tells you how many PDFs left as well. And then it will go through the text. It obviously takes a while. It uses LangChain as the code. It's the main code. I insert text first and it inserts PDFs. And that's basically it. It'll just keep running until all the PDFs and until all the PDFs and texts are inserted into the Milbus database. And you could see that the database is automatically created as well. DB560. And you could see there are some already in. It'll just go through each of them. But for now, there's also sim search, which is basically it connects to the database. So let's say macromolecules. It'll go through all the PDFs and TXT it has embed, and it will find the most similar ones, and it'll output 4. And it's really useful for giving the chatbot context. And this is the database we've been using for this chatbot to improve accuracy and improve speed.
I'll talk about my part. So I have been working on the front end of this project. This is what I have so far. It is supposed to mimic a Piazza forum. So on the left side, we have this button for new discussion. And when we click it, it's gonna be able to create a new discussion. We can enter the title and then we can click post and it's gonna create a new discussion. And here are the existing discussions. We can see that there's a title for everyone. And then it's gonna have a preview of the text inside. Right now, it's all like just a random text for testing purpose. And on the left side, we can see there are like different ways of sorting it. It's just like Piazza. We can see some of them are solved and some of them are still unsolved. So we can sort different discussions based on that. And here is also another way of sorting it. And here we have a search box where we can search different text. And when we click one of them, then the user can create a post and ask a question. And then here the chatbot will be able to answer the question. And then you can like or reply the response by the chatbot. Right now, this is still very, very crude, and we are going to add more features and work on this. And also, we haven't connected this to the actual chatbot yet. We're still working on the features for front end itself, but later we're going to connect it to the chatbot. So when user posts a question, it's gonna get a real-time answer from the chatbot. Right now, this file is only as an HTML file, but since we want to expand on the project, we will use a framework to basically make it more scalable. For the past few days, I've been trying to convert this into Angular, but I have been running into some issues, mainly because of the transition from JavaScript to TypeScript was giving me some errors. So I'm thinking of using some different frameworks. So by using another framework that can basically just avoid having to convert everything into TypeScript. And after I do that, I'll be able to add more features to the front end and also eventually connect it to the chatbot in the backend for a more responsive and a complete front end. So this is what I have so far.
Thank you.
Thank you.